And it was because all I did was start.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of money. I just started. I knew $35 would turn into $300, $300 would turn into $3,000, so forth and so on. So I think the mindset starts with just simply starting.
Yeah.
You know.
I want I want to credit a lot of the older big mamas, the grandmothers,
Mm-hmm.
because the way that they got us started without kind of telling us. I don't know if you remember the bonds that the government used to issue, like if you buy it for 25 bucks, after a while it turns into 50. And
Mm-hmm.
so we got those a lot of times, right? Like for Christmas gifts and stuff like that, you would get these bonds, right?
Right.
And obviously they had a maturity date, right? And a maturity rate in which if you waited a certain amount of time, they would mature, right? And then we also got started by, opening up the parental checking and savings accounts where you could actually deposit your money and, checking and savings. So see, the problem that I had with that was they didn't teach compound interest.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't teach the fundamentals of earned income.
Mm-hmm.
Earned income, right? A lot of people think that these bonds, they're like, yo, I got 25, now it's 50. I traded in, I got $50. I go, no, brother, now you got $25 of earned income that the bank gave you.
Mm-hmm.
That's income. They're
Right.
going to report that $25 to the IRS that they gave you that money now, right? So
Absolutely.
now you compound this with how many bonds you got, that might turn into a significant amount that you now have to pay taxes on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we start to go wrong, right? Because we didn't have that financial literacy, a lot of people that had those bonds ended up in the negative because they just spent the money.
Right.
Right.
They just see green. They just see green.
That was it. That was it. How do you feel about the decline right now in the interest rates of what traditional savings accounts used to yield 5%? Getting a 5%, even 4% interest rate now in a standard savings account is almost non-existent at this point. How do you feel about the where the state of the banking institution is now as far as interest, where you can put your money away, not in a CD, right? Because we'll talk about that later, but just basic checking and savings that people understand and actually see some type of a return.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, the bank isn't our friend.
Yeah.
So the best place we could park our money is the stock market.
Okay.
Message.
If we just now on average, the average rate of return in the stock market is going to be 10% annual return, right? I mean, if you look at the past 3 years, we've had over 20% return. So you just asked about 5% return out of a bank, and we're not even getting that out of a bank. Right. So we're literally in the middle of, I'm coming off of going to 3 conferences over the past month and a half. And in every conference, all you hear is AI, 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 AI. We are literally in a revolution right now. And a transfer of wealth is happening right before our eyes. And it's happening in the stock market. It's not happening in the bank. Right. So I would tell people, and I echo this until I'm blue in the face, like park your money in the stock market to where these businesses are growing, substantially by incorporating AI into their businesses. Since April, the market is up 30%.
I want to ask you something, because I know a little. I'm not gonna act like I know a lot about the stock market. I've definitely invested, made some bread. You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff, but like something like the Elon Musk, he brought $1 billion worth of shares, right? Like tell me what are your thoughts on that? Because then with just him purchasing that one thing, end up erasing all of the losses from Tesla's whole thing for 2025. So like I want to understand all of that. Like do you understand that level? Or
yes. So a lot of that news is parked already, or they call it baked into the stock, right?
Yeah.
So earlier, I want to say, and maybe I actually made a post on this on my IG. The stock had fell to about $270 per share.
Okay.
And I literally screamed out like, "Hey!" And it was because Trump and Elon were getting into their little spat, their feud.
Yeah.
And everyone on social media was talking about, "Oh, I told y'all it was fake," and yet focusing on the wrong thing. Okay, there's a lot going on in the world, but Tesla is about to change a lot of what the world and what America does in terms of technology, EVs, et cetera, et cetera. We got to look past, Elon and all the shenanigans that come with that, and understand that, hey, parking my money into a stock that's literally about to compound over time is going to help me be financially free. So at that time when the stock fell at 270, Y'all can fact check me.
Yeah.
I said, hey, in a few months, this stock is going to be at $400. Buy Tesla. I don't know, we're close today. I think at $418 per share. So if you just ignore the noise and just focus and lock in on the best companies, like I said, your money is going to grow over time. Now, is at some point in time, I'm not saying, this is educational purposes, right? I'm not saying go buy Tesla today, because at some point it is going to come back down,
Absolutely.
200. But that's, when we talk about mindset, if Tesla goes on sale, you don't start going to social media talking about, I told y'all Elon was crazy. No, you go buy.
Message.
You go buy shares, right? If Apple just released their iPhone 17, the stock fell 6%. Everyone has an iPhone that I know. Like, why would you not buy Apple shares when the stock falls 6%? That is like my mindset has changed now. Like, that's insane to me not to go into the stock market and say, hey, I want to buy a share of Apple that's, I don't know, I think it's $200 per share, and the iPhone 17 is $1,200. What are we doing?
About market share and valuation. Who's a part of your everyday life? You can bet on those companies that are going to be around for the long term.
Right. Last time I checked, the iPhone 10 probably texts the same way the iPhone 17 does.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
But it's the I'm not gonna lie, Chris. As a person that just started to actually get into the stock market myself, I've always considered myself a very intelligent person, but I just didn't know enough about it to invest my money. I'm like you, right? If I'm gonna do a thing, I'm gonna learn the thing first. I don't care who's doing it, right? I actually was on a business call last night with a new business venture that I, turned down, and I'm like, nah, that's not for me. A lot of this can be overwhelming, Chris. I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? With all the investment options now, checking, saving, CD accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs. We're talking annuities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This can become overwhelming for the average person that is dealing with overwhelming things in life itself, right? This is why a lot of people turn to these investment firms like Charles Schwab or Fidelity and things of that nature. What recommendation would you have for somebody that is not savvy on all of these things, but just wants to kind of they got a couple dollars, they want to invest in the market? What company or companies do you recommend they start with, and do you recommend like the standard S&P 500 safe bet or whatever? What are your recommendations towards that?
Yeah, so we could just lean on, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
So,
Okay.
you're 1,000% correct. There's so many avenues. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat in terms of like building wealth. But now there's like Investopedia put out a good article. There's this movement going on where folks talk about, we used to always hear about diversify your portfolio, diversify, right? But now they're moving towards teaching hyper concentration. So what does that mean? Instead of saying, hey, I want to dibble in bonds, and I'll grab some crypto, and I'll grab some equities, and I'll hyper concentrate your wealth. And if for me, my expertise is going to be in the stock market. So where would I start? Again, if we're going to keep it simple, stupid, I would say let's go ahead and park our money in what's called an exchange traded fund.